Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
But I'm Rob.
And today we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark's number one hater from NBC Sports on her turf, Natalie Esquire. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. So, Rob, the number one hater that I know of on X and on NBC Sports podcasts and stuff like that, on her turf, it's called. She takes everything from a black perspective, which I have no problem with, except when she loses her objectivity. And she's a big Clark hater, and she's always trying to minimize Caitlin Clark. And she's on a podcast, and she talks with Kylie Lawson Freeman, but she wasn't part of this discussion, so she's not going to be there. But they're both haters. The number one hater is Natalie Esquire. And I'm going to give you an example as to show you why she's not objective, Rob. If you saw the hit from Kennedy Carter onto Caitlin Clark, you can see that she was blindsided and she was almost in shock that she got shoved to the ground. And she was on a podcast and a guy said, "Oh, Caitlin Clark flopped when that happened." And she goes, yes, that's what I've been saying. So right now, if I showed that to 1,000 people, 1,000 people would say, no, she didn't flop. She was blindsided. What are you talking about? But she thought that. So right now, you can just say, just for that one comment alone, I will tell you she's not objective and she's delusional. Okay. And it's embarrassing on some of her takes because she has a law degree and I have a law degree, and I'm embarrassed for lawyers because you have to have a certain amount of intelligence to get a law degree. And, I'm not saying you have to be a genius, but you have to have a certain amount of intelligence. And she displays little of it when she talks about Caitlin Clark. And she said all sorts of other, shouldn't be on the Olympic team. She went with Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year for most of the year, all sorts of things. She said Caitlin Clark was padding her stats. I could go on, but everybody that knows who she is knows that she goes way too far with the black perspective and minimizes Caitlin Clark as the number one Caitlin Clark hater other than Cheryl Swoops. They're like neck and neck, Rob. Wow. Cheryl Swoops is even stupider, which is hard to imagine. So, okay. Yeah. So she went on a podcast and she wasn't on with her normal person, Kylie Lawson Freeman. She was on this, I don't know his name. He's a young white male. And they were talking about the first team All-Pro that was announced. And he started out on the podcast and said Caitlin Clark deserved to be on the first team and made good arguments for it. And then she said she got on and made arguments that she should be on the second team and not the first team. And I'm going to go over her silly arguments because you knew that was coming. There's no way she was going to give her credit and put her on the first team. And there's no way she's going to agree with the fourth place finish for the MVP voting because she didn't.
Right.
And she said, when I look at MVP voting and when I look at first and second team, I look at winning. Now, yes, winning becomes more important as the award becomes higher. For instance, MVP. Yes, winning is involved in the MVP voting. It always has been, always will be, sometimes too much. But all sorts of MVPs have won that were barely over 500. Their teams have been barely over 500. And they've won the MVP. Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about an MVP candidate, it becomes less important. And if you're talking about second team All-Pro, it becomes even less important for the team winning because it's not your fault, the talent that you play with. And you can only drag those teams so far to wins.
Yeah, you only have what you're given with, especially if you're a first-round draft choice for any team. That's why you're the first-round draft choice because that team's not that good. So,
right. So what happens is with a rookie, as everyone knows, unless they get lucky because of trades or something like that, they get drafted to one of the top two worst teams in the league. That's what happens in almost every sport, putting aside trades. And they ended up struggling a lot of times because they're playing with less talent. Quarterbacks, you get started a rookie year, all sorts of things have happened to Peyton Manning and Troy Aikman, all these interceptions they threw because they had lousy teams.
Right.
That's all there is to it. And that happens. So Caitlin Clark got put on a team that was not very good, 13 wins the year before, didn't make the playoffs, hadn't made it since 2016.
Right.
And guess what? They went up to 20 wins. So they did win. In essence, they won 7 more wins. They could have won 8 more the last game of the regular season, but they didn't play their starters. And that's a big deal for a team that hadn't made the playoffs since 2016. So you need to give her credit for that.
I'm sorry. Also, we didn't put in the fact of coaching. So,
right. And if they had a better coach, they would have won another 5 or 6 games easily, in my opinion.
Yeah, easy.
So you can't just look at the wins. You have to look at how much you contributed to the wins, which is way more important, which we're going to get to now. So she talked about Sabrina IsESCO. She thought she should be first team All-Pro instead of Caitlin Clark because she made an argument for Alyssa Thomas. So people have probably all seen this if they are Caitlin Clark fans in terms of the stats between Caitlin Clark and Sabrina IsESCO. In every category except for turnovers, because Caitlin Clark had more turnovers than Sabrina IsESCO, Caitlin Clark was higher than her. Every category, Rob, including all types of shooting percentage, which Sabrina IsESCO has less attention on her because she has Breanna Stewart, who's the number one player in the team. Breanna Stewart's the number one, and Sabrina IsESCO is kind of like 1B. Right. So she has less attention on her. So her shooting percentage should be higher based upon that because she gets less attention than Caitlin Clark, who, as we all know, was double teamed and triple teamed and guarded 94 feet more than anyone else in the league.
And you saw it. That's what happened when Minnesota did that in the finals to Sabrina and how she didn't do that well that game.
Right. So I could go over all the categories, but in every category, Caitlin Clark was higher. And in fact, Sabrina IsESCO cooled off in the second half of the season, Rob, and Caitlin Clark got stronger. And, so the indication is from Natalie Hayter was, I can't discount how she struggled in the beginning of the year. Well, she was a rookie, and they were double teaming and triple teaming, and she was on a lousy team. So did you take that into consideration?
No,
I couldn't do that.
No,
did you take into consideration that Sabrina IsESCO was on a great team that came in second last year and was lost in the finals and had the best record in the league this year?
Didn't she have some Olympians on the team there? Olympian?
Yes, she did. So, all right. So she argues wins. I argue, okay, that's overrated in terms of how she was trying to rate it. And then she argued for Alyssa Thomas because she said, well, you got to argue what she brings to the team. So forget about stats because she was arguing about wins and stats. And now she's moving the goalposts. Like, what does she mean to the team? That Alyssa Thomas is the basis for their defensive team. Okay. Well, Rob, Caitlin Clark meant more to her team than anyone else in the league.
Right. I know.
By a large margin.
She improved. I mean, not just herself. I mean, this not just her as a player, but her teammates, around her played better because of her.
So then Natalie talks about the fact that, and Sabrina IsESCO is the number 2. So she said because she's the number 2, her season was more efficient, which is it's just the opposite, Rob. She drew less attention. We just went over this.
Right.
The Caitlin Clark drew the most attention. So her figures are actually more efficient because it was harder for her to put up those numbers. It's not like you're on a lousy team and you're putting up these big numbers. No, right. Caitlin Clark was on a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's definitely more efficient. Like I said, she brought players up to a different level. She brought up Boston, who was an All-Star last year, to even a greater level, and then Mitchell, who was also an All-Star this year, and also the other year she played. She blossomed too.
Mitchell had her best season ever, Rob, with Caitlin Clark as the point guard.
Right.
Okay, so it is untrue what she said about that's the more efficient season because you're the number 2 person. No, you got less attention on you, so it's actually not as efficient in terms of you're trying to overall rate the stats. And even if you did, Caitlin Clark's were better.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for Caitlin Clark not to be exactly where she was in the MVP voting or the All-Pro. She's just a hater and won't give her full credit because she's white. And that's all it is. That's all it is with this woman, Rob.
Yeah, which is
She's a racist. Sad. I can tell by her comments.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I don't know. I should give her one of my cards. 1-800-GET-A-LIFE. It's like, come on.
She's not going away because she's on NBC Sports. For some reason, they like her. They don't care how objective she is. They don't care how wrong her views are. They have to have a variety of commentators, and she fits the bill for them, Rob. And she's going to be on there. But she's a hater, and I don't take anything she says seriously. And she just contradicted herself all through her analysis.
Right.
So, anyways, let us know what you think. I mean, first of all, this was no surprise. I would have been shocked if she would have said, yeah, fourth in the MVP voting, first team All-Pro. That's about where I would put her. If she had said that, I would have fell out of my chair.
Right.
So I give her credit for saying, yeah, second team All-Pro, and that she had a great rookie year. She said that afterwards, to be fair, and all that stuff. But early in the year, she wasn't even given her Rookie of the Year. So, when she deserved it. So anyways, just want to point that out. And she's not going away, and I wish she would.
No, they need those people like Swoops and her to keep things going.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. She kept moving the goalposts, and she's inconsistent and illogical, and I'm calling her out for it. That's my take, and I'm sticking to it. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do, and you get notified of our next videos. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to join us for the live show, Rob and I will both be there on Monday. It's every Monday except for major holidays, 6 to 8 Eastern time. And you can call in for that show, so that's real cool. If you want to donate to the channel, it's super chats, super thanks down below, and the link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.